Hi, all. Welcome to the very first episode of Reading Royals with body language expert Scott Rouse. Scott is a trusted advisor to law enforcement, the military, and Fortune 500 CEOs. And you may also recognize him from his popular YouTube channels, Scott Rouse and the Behavior Panel. Meanwhile, I've been covering the royal family full time now for over 5 years.
Yeah, and reading the Royals brings history, headlines, and human behavior together in a way only Kinsey and I are going to be able to do it. And in this series, we're going to take you beyond the palace press releases and stage photo ops to examine what's really happening behind the scenes.
That's right. Drawing on Scott's expertise and my royal knowledge, each episode revisits pivotal moments involving the royal family, from historic speeches and scandals to today's public appearances and interviews. Together, Scott and I decode the subtle signals that shape royal narratives both then and now. And this is not our first rodeo, Scott. You and I do this all the time. We've just decided to officially do it.
Yeah, I think this is going to be fun.
I do
I
too.
really do. I think it's going to be a blast because every time I leave here, I feel like it's this weird buzz I have when I'm done because it's nothing horrible. Usually I'm talking about the worst things you can possibly imagine. And the people I have to talk to in real life out in the wild are the worst you can imagine too. So I really like doing this. I think it'll be
I know.
fun.
Also, there is, well, and I love that you have a background in the entertainment industry too, because we see the great lengths that the royal family specifically go into managing the brand. And sometimes we see right through that. And I think it's good when we think something is dishonest. I think it's good if we think somebody's not being straight with us to point
Yeah.
it out. I mean, maybe it'll help them a little bit. Specifically with Harry and Meghan, I imagine you're going to use the word authenticity as we go through the some of the clips I pulled for Harry and Meghan today. Maybe it's good that we call them out sometimes so they know exactly where they should be pivoting.
Yeah, and I think everybody's thinking the same thing. Everybody goes along those lines of because the vibe of inauthenticity, or however you say it, they're being inauthentic. That kind of flips a lot of switches in people. So people want to hear it called out because they know they can't be the only one seeing it, you
Yeah,
know.
that's true.
So
Let's pull up this first clip. For actually, I'm curious to know if this popped up in your algorithm at all. Harry and Meghan handing Harry a chocolate bar. I'm going to pull up the video here in a second. But what happens is Meghan posted a video this last week of Harry accepting as ever chocolate. Of course, she's restocked, so we know that this is a promotion for her candy. He has to be aware that she's filming this. Anything else goes completely against their privacy campaigns that they're so public about. Prince Harry's actually speaking in Washington, D.C. on March 31st or March 30th, I believe, about privacy and um, how to navigate social media. So that's something that they continuously talk about. But when you think, okay, this is something that they've strategized around the kitchen table, that's also gross. I mean, am I like being sensitive and saying I think that either way I'm annoyed by this video?
no, it's not going to be something that is natural. It's not going to be something they just thought of and started doing. It's planned. It's going to be. I haven't seen it yet, but it's
I'm
going to be
pulling it up.
planned.
I'm pulling it up.
Yeah, but it's going to be something that's planned, and that's because that's what they do. That's their MO. They plan everything, or you don't see them.
So this was shared to Megan's Instagram, and she starts off on the ground. She wants you to see his feet, his bare feet underneath the desk. She hands him oh, he's surprised. He takes his favorite. It's the white chocolate. He hands it back to her. Like, it's supposed to look, we know that it's supposed to look organic. Like Megan's like, look, I'm treating my husband.
Hmm.
And he's, oh, yay, I'm so happy. Thank you for your chocolate. And then he hands it back to her, but clearly scripted.
Well,
Lack of authenticity is the obvious reaction to that.
the first thing that lets us know it's fake is watch how it begins. When it starts, she has just started to move forward at that point, and you think he doesn't know she's standing right there in the doorway or just right outside the door? No, he knows what's going on there. And you're right. I don't know what her thing is with feet, but she's all the time showing hers and his, and it's just like you don't see their feet. Hers looks like she's got. No, okay, listen to me over here getting all snarky. But anyway, I don't want to see that, on
It's
those
interesting.
two.
I'm so glad you observed that because I think that she feels like that translates to freedom in some way because she talks about, I believe this is in the Harry and Meghan very first Netflix documentary.
Mhm.
She talks about meeting William and Catherine for the first time, and she says she's barefoot and she is wearing jeans with holes in them, and she hugs them, and they kind of are like turned off by her being so affectionate so immediately. But the way she always tells the story and the way she talks about being barefoot, she wants you to associate that with a free spirit, I believe, like kind of a California hippie, I think. To her, I think that it's a branding mechanism to say she's not as controlling as we say, or we've read she is in books like Courtiers, Valentine Lowe, that accuse her of bullying, um, Tom Bower's Revenge. Could I be onto something there that this barefoot thing has like a deeper purpose to her?
Oh yeah, it's total branding for her. She wants you to think she's the kind that runs around the house without any shoes on because she's just at the house doing stuff. I mean, that's what you when you're looking at someone's profile, you're trying to profile someone, see what kind of personality you're dealing with, see what they really do. When they tell you what they're doing, that's when it's red flags. You got to start paying attention to what they're doing. Plus the
Mm.
fact she has man feet. I'm just gonna say it.
Well, there's
Everybody,
the line of the show, and we're only a few minutes in.
I'm
So
telling
I'm
you.
feeling really good about this. I'm feeling really good about reading Royals. I mean, I just have a hard time with the fact that these are two individuals that are campaigning so fiercely against social media. And it's the one vehicle where Meghan Markle doesn't have commercials. Some might argue her Netflix series is a commercial, but I would debate that all day long. Like she doesn't have half the products on the first season, and the third season when she's using something, a QR code should pop up. It doesn't. So she doesn't take out commercials. I don't think I've ever seen her take out any ads. The way she gets attention, she does have a newsletter, but the way she typically gets attention for her products is social media, the back of her kids' heads, using Harry now. And it's just the hypocrisy of campaigning against social media, wanting to actually influence creating social media laws, but also using it as a vehicle to sell your tat. It feels dirty to me.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but that's one tack you take when you're marketing something. So it's a decision they've made. That's where they're gonna do it because you haven't seen the ads because she doesn't need ads because of her social media is it's what I would assume that the thought process is. So that's the way she does it. And there's a thing where you you still see Coke ads. They wouldn't need to do any ads. Everybody goes, why do they do ads? Well, because that's one of the things you have to do to stay on the mind, stay on everyone's mind. But there are some situations where you don't want to advertise. The only time I ever saw Led Zeppelin advertise anything was in London on the side of a cab when they had that thing at the O2 Dome,
How
you
cool.
know, and a long time ago. And I was there, so I saw, and that was the only time I've ever seen them do any kind of advertising for them, besides selling, they're releasing the album, things
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that,
yeah.
that another company's doing. But I've never seen them do anything like that. And that was the first time. So there's a thing to not advertising yourself, and only the cool people know about it. And you have to know and all that. There's a whole campaign you can put together for that. And that's what she's done. That's what
Mm.
she's doing.
But she's using this property that she says is Satan has come straight from Satan's bowels. So that's my argument.
Yeah,
I get
yeah.
what you're saying,
She's
but it
using
is her
that,
strategy.
and they're warning about harms to children, and she's using her children in her stuff. They're
Yeah.
going against everything they preach against is what they're doing. They're not doing the things like showing, well, maybe they are showing the kids. So,
No, no, they show the back of the kids. Sometimes you might see the sides of them, and it typically is right before a launch, or if she has a new product or she's got something to promote. They do cover their faces, though. They do protect their faces.
okay, but
But
still they're in it.
no, no, I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah, like I mean, if the objective is to sell something, like I would keep my kids completely out of it because they can't consent. Like that's so strange. Also, Oh, I mean, you might be able to talk about this from the perspective of what you do in the real world. I feel like you are heightening interest in the children by continuing to post them but shielding their faces. If I were them, I would be concerned that there would be a weirdo out there that is determined to see them because they've created this strange boundary. Why not just not flirt with that at all by keeping them off social media completely?
Yeah, oh, I agree. I agree. And there'll be, I don't know what the paparazzi situation is with that, because they know not to take pictures of kids or whatever, but it can get pretty weird when you're dealing with children and photos. So I believe I've seen pictures of those kids before, though.
Well, I'll tell
Maybe.
you where you saw a lot of them. It's the Netflix series. For the right price, we get access to the Sussex kids. If you watch the Netflix series, you see their faces a lot. As they've gotten older, they've stopped showing their faces, but I think that it's not hard to imagine what they could look like at this age. But we did see a lot of them, and they used to post Christmas photos with their children. They no longer do that. Now it's Harry and Meghan, and they try to make it more about Archwell. But if you are thinking to yourself, I know exactly what the children look like, it's likely because we did see them throughout the original Netflix series, which I know that you covered significantly through your channel and the Behavior Panels channel.
Yeah. You really don't see that people don't think about the dangers of showing your children and showing their
Mm-hmm.
faces or getting an interest of those children on the internet to other people. There's some bad people out there, and they'll take those pictures, and I think they call it digital kidnapping, and they'll take pictures and put those and use AI and put those kids in different situations and um, have things going on that they're really not doing, and they sell those photos. So it's not good. It's not
Yeah,
good.
we
They
have
should.
like I can't stress enough, and I keep hearing other people say that. I know that it sounds like a funny idea to put a picture of your kid in AI and have him doing a choreographed dance like the Dougie or whatever, but do not put pictures of your children into AI ever. There's like no reason to do it. It's so unsafe. You have no control over what happens to those images. Protect your children's images online. Like I used to post pictures with my nephews online, and now I'm like, no, oh my gosh, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm so scared of this AI thing. It's just moving too fast, and I don't think we have any control over it whatsoever.
Yeah, it's getting weird. I mean, it's becoming very powerful. I mean, everybody looks, most people look at it and go, "Oh, it's the worst thing ever." It's done a lot of good. It's done a lot. It helps a lot, but at the same time, anybody can get a hold of it. That's
Yeah,
the problem with it. So people who are bad get a hold of it, and that's the kind of thing that happens, or one of the things that happen. You
right.
can take your child's face and say, "Oh, we've kidnapped your child," and just send you that video, and they could still be in school or somewhere else, and you wouldn't know it. And they say, "We've kidnapped your child," and you've got the child sounding like that child, and you've got a video of the child, you've got all these things that looks like you have that child. So we got that case with Savannah Guthrie's mother, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Now, who knows if they do send proof of life that it's real? It'll be, I mean, you can send it through the AI stuff and says, oh, 94% it's, AI or human or whatever. But still, you have that situation where you don't know for sure.
And that was so scary because she says in her video, she was like, images and video can be manipulated today. I think historically that's one of the first times we've seen somebody saying, I need more. I need more. Like I don't necessarily know if I trust what I've seen. And that was pretty scary. I'm going to send you. You did some stuff on Megan at Sundance. We'll look at this specific clip, which is a shorter clip, but I will ask you overall about what your interpretation was of her at Sundance. But I have written down like my very first thing that I wrote down is like this woman loves the word nuance. She uses the word nuance all the time. Is this a crutch for her?
A lot of times people will hang around other people and they'll hear a word or they'll hear a
You
phrase
say
and
this about Megan. Yes, you've said this about her before. Like she likes something she hears somebody else say and she adopts that. You think
right.
that's nuance too?
It could be because it's almost like a little virus we get. Sometimes it goes to a laugh. Some people will imitate the laugh the other person's doing. And it's
Yeah.
somebody they like or somebody they think is smart and they want that to be part of their makeup. But you'll see them grabbing those things all the time. We all do it in a way, and that's how little trends in words and jokes and things like that get started. But that's what it looks like to me. You know, and then every time you'll notice when she grabs your ear, if you watch these interviews she's done with Fortune and
She
um,
does her hair too. She does her hair
mhm.
too. Like, and it's like it feels like a protective thing. Is that too much? Am I reading too much into that?
Well, that's when she's thinking about herself, and we call that the stuff with the hair is called preening or grooming. And we'll
Mm.
do that sometimes when we're prepping to get ready for something. We'll do that, and okay, now I'm ready. But she'll do it in the middle. She'll do her hair behind her ear, or pull her ear right there like that. That's when she starts talking about herself and what she thinks, and that's when the platitudes start coming out
Yeah.
because that's all she has. She's armed herself with these platitudes. She's got several of them that she uses, and they're just concepts. But she's got platitudes to go with all of them. She can say it about anything. You can talk about frogs, or you can talk about tractors, anything, and she's going to be able to pull out a platitude and tell how wonderful it is and how nuanced it is and which ways and all that. And if you were to compare the tractor and the frog, she'd be able to make that comparison, but it would sound just exactly like what she's talking about this movie.
And do you get the sense, because here's what I understand happened, and you've worked in entertainment, so you'll kind of understand this too. This project existed. Harry and Meghan had the opportunity to invest and slap executive producer titles on it, and that's what they did. Do you get the sense that Meghan really feels like when she's talking about we, like Meghan's trying to take ownership of this, and she literally, slid in during the final. I don't know. I want to use a sports reference, but I'm dumb. Like the final quarter, and it's like there was no sweat, blood, tears, or sacrifice from Harry and Meghan for this film. They probably threw some money at it so that they could have executive producer credits. And because Meghan Markle wanted to go to Sundance, and Meghan Markle wanted to look like she wants to look like a producer and like a force in the industry. Was she lying to us? Did you get the sense that she was being dishonest, or do you get the sense that she fully believes that this is a we project and she is a part of the team?
She's not a part of the team. She's a part of the Megan team. And so what
Yeah.
she does by becoming a producer, as you know, out there in LA, that's a powerful thing. Say I'm a producer now. She's produced because remember when she came out for the women's whatever it was we were talking about before.
Variety, was it the Variety most powerful? Well, she
It's the
did.
UN thing.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
she's a movie actress. She's a this and a that. She's going to add that to her list of things that she is now. Oh, she's produced movies and TV. So once you get that producer tag, that says to everybody else this person's got money or something's going on there. If
Yeah.
you're executive producer, which a lot of times is real. You'll have executive producers and they're the ones that fund it and they keep an eye on it and all that kind of thing. But then you have those other people who everybody knows they're not doing anything and you use that in your little toolkit to get other gigs or to
You know
make you
who
look
you
cool.
know who else is like that? The last option you just described, Dodi Fayed, Mohammed Al Fayed's son, who was dating Diana and who died with Diana in the Paris
Mhm.
car crash. Chariots of Fire, I think, is what he produced with daddy's money. And he was
Uh,
always asking daddy for money so that he could slap his name on a movie, but never really contributed in a meaningful way. He was a nepo baby who wanted a Hollywood credit. And I feel that way about Harry and Meghan, that they're just trying to ride someone else's coattails.
and it's like in the music business, if you produce a record, that's one thing. But if you executive produce it, everybody knows you don't have anything to do with the music itself. You don't have anything to do with the song construction or anything else in there. You're just the one who foot the bill on that thing. You probably had the concept or got the concept, and you're at the label, and you're the one of the presidents or one of the high A&R people, and you say, "Oh, I'll executive produce it." And what's the artist going to do? Argue with that?
Yeah.
No.
No.
So that's how you become an executive producer. And then that's all you need on that. I executive produce that. Nobody knows what that means. Nobody knows what you do for that. It just sounds important and connects you with that person, that album or that movie or whatever it is, TV show, whatever. So, and there's nothing wrong with it, but there are cases where a producer's fine. I don't, with TV and movies, I get that. But when you become the executive producer, if you're not the one that runs the company and you're not the one you're an outsider to that, yeah, you probably just gave them the money, or funded part of it. I think that's
Well,
what's happening there.
I agree. What was your observation? Because you covered a lot of Meghan at Sundance. Overall, in general, I feel like she was happier than a pig in you know what to be at Sundance. Think of all the years she was rejected, in Hollywood auditions. Think of all the no's she got throughout her acting career, and now she's walking a Sundance red carpet and she's taking pictures down the step and repeat. She is going to force people to take her seriously. What was your observation while you were kind of breaking down some of her behavior?
She loves being there. You
Didn't
can
she?
tell she's used to. Now I don't know if you've ever been there before when they're having Sundance and doing all. I've been one time, and if you're a person in a movie and you're a famous person, boy, it's a big deal when you show up. It's a real big deal, and so I'm sure she loves that part of it as well. And she knows if she goes there, she's going to get a lot of attention. She's part of a movie, which is going to get a lot of attention, I'm sure she still considers herself an actress. And even though I don't know. I never met her. But I'll bet you if you offered her a movie part in something, I'll bet she'd do it.
Well,
She
she has
tries
a
to act
cameo.
above it.
This she's coming out Amazon MGM. There's a new movie with Lily Collins. There is a new movie coming out about two couples, one famous, one not famous, and they are on vacation, I believe, in Santa Barbara, and they stumble upon Meghan Markle playing herself. And so she is in a new Amazon MGM movie in a cameo as herself.
Oh man. Now, let's get snarky. I don't think that's going to be a very good movie. If you're leaning on her to make a cameo and you're telling people she's in it too,
Yeah.
oof. I don't know, man.
I have actually heard that they were disappointed by Megan's delivery in the film because she takes herself far too seriously. Does that surprise you at all?
No, but I bet it's hilarious. Now I can't wait to see it. Maybe it will do good. I can't wait to see this. If they're going, oh man, if real actors are saying that, it's got to be good.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, you are so funny. All right, well, I feel like we would be doing a disservice if we didn't touch a little bit on the Epstein stuff as this story continues to blow up. Emails disclosed in the Epstein files show that in 2015, Ghislaine Maxwell told Jeffrey Epstein that notorious photograph of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor with his arms around Virginia Giuffre's waist was authentic. You covered Andrew's sit down with the BBC at great length. And you saw him. He tried to discredit the authenticity of that photo in this interview. I grabbed a quick clip, but I want to ask you about two things. So if you could watch for these two things as
Yeah.
we watch this clip. One is him talking about how he just can't imagine this picture being real. But the other is I'd like for you to break down the way he interrupts the journalist to insist he can't sweat. Like it's one thing to sit back and wait for her to finish her thought before he says, well, I have a medical issue that totally jeopardizes that story, that
Mhm.
version of events. But he tries to like shut her down.
Well,
I can't. Like he is keep in mind he like left this interview and went and told the queen that it was a home run, that like he was so proud of himself. His daughter Beatrice helped set up this interview. he he thinks he's in control. Like he clearly has a superiority complex. He thinks he's better than that journalist. The way that he shuts her down and dismisses what she says, um not a very likable character.
no. There's so many cues in there that tell us from a body language and behavior perspective that he's not being honest or that
Yeah.
would suggest he's being deceptive. I'm not
Yeah.
saying there are no body language cues that tell you for sure somebody's lying or telling the truth. You always hear about looking up to the right or down to the left or whatever, and that's a lie. There are no definitive studies that show that's true. So going from there, let me tell you, you have to group these things together when you see these cues. If you get 4 or 5 cues in one thing, you say, you know what, that might not be true. So then you have to know what to ask next in that situation to see if that keeps happening. So in this situation, when he's answering that question, listen to how quiet his voice gets. We call that fading facts because your brain is saying, hey, man, you shouldn't be saying this. You're lying. It's not really saying that. But the front part of your brain has a problem with that, the frontal cortex, so and the prefrontal cortex. So it's sort of um, shorting out and they're going, we shouldn't be saying this. We shouldn't be saying this. But he's saying it. And that's why it gets quiet there toward the end. And sometimes he answers the entire question really quietly like that. Then you're going to see what it's called adapting. Now, when we adapt, that's when you get rid of that built up stress and tension from whatever the situation is. If you and I were talking, I get really bent out of shape about something, I might start doing this because I'm pushing on my chin or my side of my face, and that helps me relax. Or some people will hug themselves, they'll cross their arms and hug themselves. Or some people will just do this on their arm, that kind of thing. So that helps get rid of that built up stress and tension. So what we're seeing with him is in his hands, he's got almost like this upside down steepling thing going. And when he starts talking, you'll see his thumbs disappear down there because he's pushing them together as they go down. Now, when we show our thumbs, and these are from studies, it's not just me saying, hey, here's what I've Googled.
Yeah.
We know from studies that when the thumbs disappear, something's going on, that your confidence is dropping. So we see his dropping a lot. Although, and at the same time, he is adapting. In other words, he's trying to calm himself down a little bit. And the part about this, the no sweating thing, now what he says is this happened when he was in the war, and he thought they were going to get blown up. I think it was by I think a missile was coming at him or something, and it scared him so bad it turned off all of his sweat glands. Now, this can happen in very rare cases that can happen, you know. And when it does, you
Do you
probably
believe
wouldn't.
it ever happened? Like, could this be a true aspect of his life that he's now using as an excuse to try to get him out of this? Because it's such a bizarre story that I believe that there's an inch of truth to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm the way he's talking about it. I believe that did happen to him. I believe he did have a situation where he didn't sweat, but he didn't
Yeah.
have it at the time when he was dealing with this girl. So that's where because this situation he's talking about doesn't last forever. It doesn't last that long. And this is years later after he was part of I think it was the Falklands War that
Yes,
he
you're
was
right.
in.
Yeah.
So, and this is a long time later, and that would have dissipated, in other words, by then. So, and from my watching it, I think that he did have that problem, but I think it's gone away after that amount of time has passed because that's pretty long time they're talking about there. So I believe he probably was there and he probably was sweating.
Yeah.
So the way it looks so far. But if you pay attention to how he presents his side of it, that's the important part. So and then he does what's called blocking, where you turn your head a little bit, and it doesn't seem like a big deal sometimes. And when you barrier yourself with something, we call it barriering, it could be anything from a pen to a cup of coffee to your arm. When you put something between you and the other person, anything. And so if all you've got is your head, you can turn a little bit, you'll do that because it's your brain trying to get away from that thing because it's something that's irritating you that doesn't make you feel good. So your brain says we need to get away from that. So that's why you see that happening. He'll lean back a little bit and do that. So many things are going on in there that say he's being deceptive. There are a couple of things in there that are true that he's talking about, like he did have a situation where he didn't sweat, but it didn't last that long. So I don't believe he's being honest about that or that picture with the girl.
Now,
So
hear me out, okay?
mm,
Now, this is a unique situation where he's at a friend's house and he meets a young girl, and I'm assuming that something happened with her. Yeah, he should remember that. But I also think that the Royals are in such a bizarre position where they meet thousands of people a week or a month. They do royal engagements, they shake hands with a ton of people. A part of me thinks maybe he doesn't remember her, although Virginia says they had multiple rendezvous. So he technically should. But I honestly, again, there's like where I kind of gave him the benefit of the doubt at the time when he first did this interview because I thought these people meet so many people. How are they supposed to remember every single face?
yeah, you can't, you don't. You
Yeah.
know, it's those people that you see time, a few times. You go, oh yeah, that's you. Or you'll see them like in our situation. If you see somebody who comments all the time and you'll comment back to them, you sort of know that
Hi,
person. And you don't.
Carol. Hi, Carol.
There you go. So and you don't really connect with it. You do connect with them online when you see them in person. You're like, oh my God, it's you, and you don't forget that person's face usually. Now,
Yeah.
if in a situation like out in the wild, when you've got a royal person out meeting literally thousands of people, you meet people all the time. People come, oh my gosh, this, and oh yeah. Well, what happens is they become part of this, that. They're that. They're the people that come up and do this. They're the people that come up and do that. However, if you had a party at your house and this guy came over and you introduced him to somebody, you don't remember what's her name? Lisa, this is her from over here. Yeah, I remember her. You'd remember her
Yeah, because
because
that's an intimate setting.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're not on intake where you've got all these people and you really don't have to remember who they are or anything, but you're saying hi and being nice. In that situation, it's personal. You do remember those. There's no way to remember everyone you've ever met and all these people you meet in a day in the situation like that. But when you're if you're in a house, even one as big as Epstein's house, and somebody's there and you meet them and you end up hanging out with them, and it didn't look like a whole lot of people were there to me. It looks like, I think Ghislaine or Ghislaine, however you say her name in the back, she was in the background and a couple other things going on. But he would remember that.
Yeah.
He would remember that.
I agree. I agree. And the email from Ghislaine to Epstein makes me suspect that she also had a conversation with Prince Andrew about how do we deal about this photo? It's real. And then he goes and blatantly lies about the step. I mean, he tries to say, he doesn't say it's a fake photo. He says, well, we're having a hard time, my investigators are having a hard time confirming that it's a real photo because it's a copy of a copy of a copy. Again, that like long description that kind of sounds like it could be a little true, but he just, and correct me if you think I'm wrong, totally unprepared for this interview. This was not the right way to go. This was not the right path. He's a moron. And he thought he was smarter and ahead of the journalist. And the reality was, like, he's been proven guilty of a few of the things he was accused of throughout that interview. Like being in that photo, for instance, at least through this last DOJ drop, he probably should have just kept his freaking mouth shut if he wasn't going to work extensively with a media trainer.
Yeah, yeah. And one of the things about that, um, look at his tie. The knot in his tie is messed up. So there's
Mm,
been somebody there to go, hey man, hold on a second, let me fix your tie. What the hell are
yeah.
you doing? None of that. There's a lot of things are off here. That was a bad idea to do that, and he may have such a grand idea of who he is and what he represents and all that. He didn't think somebody would ask him that kind of question. I'm sure she didn't say, "Why don't you come in and let me ask you all the good questions,
Yeah.
everything everybody wants to know about. Let me ask you that." There are some people who are prepared for that these days. Bill Gates, in the interview he just did,
Yeah.
man, you can see this cat was ready.
Oof.
He'd rehearsed answers. He was ready. He had everything locked and loaded and ready to
That
go.
video's on your channel right now, by the way, if anyone's curious. Scott Rouse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I just let that go. But Andrew, no, he wasn't ready. He gets the concept of what he's going to say. He says, "Okay, the idea. I'll just say it wasn't fake." That's all. It's as far as it goes. He doesn't say, "I'll say this like this," and he doesn't practice and rehearse it. And he hasn't talked to anybody about it. Nobody's helped him with it because that would mean he'd have to admit it to them that he had a problem with it. Now, even though he may not have to say, he may not have to admit it to them. That's not what I mean. But he would have to visit that area where that person would be thinking, this guy did this.
Yeah.
Didn't want to put himself in that position. Sounds
Right.
crazy. Or he would have done that. But I think he thinks too highly of himself to think he would need somebody to help him through that.
I
Uh,
agree with you. What does it say to you that he doesn't allow the journalist to complete her thoughts and to complete her questions, that he interrupts her so aggressively, in my opinion?
Well, that's because he doesn't have the answer prepared, but he has the concept prepared. He hasn't structured the answer yet. So I say, wait, just a minute. I can't sweat back then. I couldn't, because if you listen to the way that sentence is structured, it's not prepared.
Yeah,
He's
he
th it,
stumbles off the top. He's like trying, you can tell that his brain is working, that he's trying to
yeah,
figure out how he strings the next few thoughts together. You're absolutely right.
yeah. Yeah, and that's what it looks like and sounds like when someone is doing that, because that's what a normal conversation looks like. Had he been prepared, he would have waited until she finished answering, and then he would have come out with with his reply would have been much better than that. That was horrible.
Yeah.
He could have had a good one. He could have had a really good one, but he didn't.
What is your thoughts? I saw JD Vance say last week that if government officials wanted to talk to Prince Andrew, former Prince Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, Andrew should make himself available. To me, especially after that BBC interview, Andrew is simply not a credible witness. I don't see any value in talking to him. I don't think that he will bring any new worthy information. And I've actually talked to people that were like, if that are very successful defense attorneys in the UK that were like, I would highly advise him not to do that.
Mhm.
There's nothing good could come out of it. When you watch that conversation with the BBC, do you agree that this is like not a good witness? This isn't a great. This his testimony would potentially be a waste of everyone's time.
Yeah, he wouldn't do that. And I think Vance is just saying that because it puts it out there that we're coming for everybody. Look out, everybody. We're even going for this guy. So that's part of the psychological approach you take when you have something so big like this, and you want to make everybody worried. And so when people start worrying, then they start lawyering up, and somebody you never would have thought of may start lawyering up. And you go, I wonder why he's doing that. Or why is
Yeah.
she doing that? I wonder. So that makes them stick out. So
Mm.
there's a lot of things that go on with what just seems like somebody saying something or saying a statement that seems kind of important but not that big a deal. There are reasons for those things. They plan all that stuff out. So
Interesting.
yeah, he wouldn't make a good witness either. He wouldn't be. No, he would. It'd just be bad for him. He would have to get somebody to help him at that point, but he's not. It takes a long time to practice that and to be used to doing that. So it would just look bad too.
I feel like Bill Gates has had some time to prep.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. He's been ready for a while. He's
Mm-hmm.
because he knows what's coming. Ever since his wife, checked him, he's like, oh no, now everybody knows.
Yeah,
Yeah, we do. You know.
exactly. She's not staying quiet either. She's like, maybe he should testify. And, oh my
Oh
gosh, like
yeah,
what
wouldn't you? Oh
you
yeah, you'd
yeah,
say, listen, no, man, I get be like, you need to go talk to him. That's what
yeah.
I'm surprised she hadn't been on the phone with him already. Say, if you need anything from me, I'm here. I'm here for you. Just let me know. Bless your all's heart, doing the best you can. I want to help you. That's
No,
what she's probably doing. That's what I'd do.
yeah. Oh, you mean with the government? I thought you meant with Bill Gates. I was like, I don't think
Oh
she feels
no,
that way
no,
about
no,
him anymore.
no. She probably ain't
Yeah.
talked to him since then.
Oh my gosh. Let's look at, I guess what I'd like to prep you for the next video is King Charles is heckled with a question about Andrew and Epstein. And my takeaway from this is that he's been prepared for this. He handles it the only way that's acceptable, I think. I don't think it's the proper venue to stop and talk to anybody about Jeffrey Epstein. I think if he wants to do it, it needs to be in some sort of official capacity. The Epstein investigation. Thank you so much. Okay, so he goes about the walkabout, continues to shake hands and say nice things. Lovely to see you. Thank you for being here. Nice to see you. And just kind of stays above the fray. You know, the classic royal motto, never complain, never explain. He's sticking to the script here.
Yeah, he does a great job. He's been doing that his whole life. I mean, think about it. Since he was a little kid, he's been doing that. So he knows how to do it. He knows how to, no matter what happens, that guy's ready for it. That guy's been trained and he's watched other people do it as well. So he's a pro. So no matter what he does, I would do that same thing in that situation if I were anybody else that had that problem. Watch Tom Cruise. Rarely does he, that's a whole different scene. He does it's Tom Cruise, so he does everything
He's
like that.
Tom Cruise. He's Tom
Yeah,
Cruise.
perfectly.
Yeah.
But in this situation, yeah, this is done just right. You just ignore him, just move on like you didn't hear it, like it
Hmm.
means nothing. So
But
yeah,
how
he's
is
ready.
he? I guess my question to you is, how is he capable of doing that? Because I feel like it would be written across my face that I was in an uncomfortable situation. I feel like I would recoil. I'm afraid, I'm afraid I would break down. Is
Yeah.
that mental training? Is that it comes with age. You know, he's been doing this job for 70 years, being this entity that belongs to the, you know, the Commonwealth. I don't know, but I feel like if I was put on the spot that way and I felt unprepared, or and maybe you're just saying, well, he is prepared, that's why it's fine, but I just feel like I might crumble under that kind of scrutiny, that public scrutiny. It's not just rows and rows of people that are standing there in front of him, it's multiple cameras that are catching the moment as well.
Yeah, because you have, and that makes sense because you're not used to doing that.
Yeah.
This guy's been doing it, but like you were saying, he's been doing it forever. That's not the first time somebody's said something like that to him,
Mm-hmm.
or been mean to him, or said something snarky, or said something about his mom, or anything else. So he's used to it, and to him it means absolutely nothing. So it wouldn't be natural for your reaction if you were doing that, even the first 15, 20 times doing that, it hasn't happened enough for you not to, for muscle memory to kick in and not be aggressive toward that person or whatever your normal reaction would be.
It would be crying. I would just cry. Okay.
No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. You'd be all right. It'd be
Well,
made up.
I think that he did a great job. I felt sad that the headlines, you know, came out associated with this, but at the same time, I was like, but at least he looks like a champion. I mean,
Yeah.
he's not. He's been so busy. Like I do feel really bad for him because he's been so busy living his own life that he doesn't keep up with his brother. He doesn't keep up with his brother's sins or vices, and I do wish that he would have chopped his brother off at the knees the second Queen Elizabeth passed away, but there would have been people that would have judged him for that too. He was in
Mhm.
a very difficult position. And it is my understanding, and I fully believe it with my entire heart, that they had no idea what the extent was when it came to this relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. I think a lot of us are shocked as we read through those emails. Sarah Ferguson proposing to him, Sarah Ferguson putting her daughters on an airplane to see him days after he's released from jail, after being a convicted sex offender, them talking about girls like they're talking about Pokemon trading cards. It's really hard to process. And I do believe that the king was completely oblivious.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because that somebody like that's not going to put up with that.
Yeah.
No, he's not going to put up with that, not even a little bit.
It's
So
yuck.
no.
It's yuck. All right. Well, Scott, this is our first episode of Reading Royals, and I'm very impressed with us. I had so much fun. And we're going to do this every week unless there's breaking news or unless you get called to do something very important, because you are a very important person doing very important things. But I'm excited that we're going to do this all the time now.
Yeah, me too. I'm really looking forward to it. It'll be fun because I can get my snark on where I usually can't
Megan's
anywhere else.
feet is the
You know what?
hashtag for today's episode. If you're
Yeah.
still watching, type hashtag Megan's feet in the comments below.
Oh,
All right, agree with us, disagree with us, let us know in the comments below. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. And we hope you'll join us every Monday for Reading Royals. We're going to go back in time. We're going to stay on top of current events, and we're just going to enjoy the British royal family from a body language perspective. And thankfully, Scott Rouse is our go-to.
yeah. I think this is going to be a blast. We'll really have fun, and then we can watch the juxtaposition of Beauty and the Beast. Because you go like this and watch her, and then you go, oh, as you watch me. So you see that the difference there. So you get the best of both worlds.
I can tell you I have a chat full of women that disagree with you. Okay, Scott? You've
Yeah.
got a lot of love over here on Unfiltered. You've got a lot of love. And thankfully, you can catch that beastly face, allegedly, every Monday from here on out. Reading Royals with Scott Rouse. What a blessing from heaven you are. Thanks for hanging out with me today.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I feel the same way
All right,
about
I will
me.
see you. I'll see you again in 1 week, 1 week's time.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, we'll do this. Yeah. We'll do it again. And if anything comes up in between then, now and then, let me know.
I will. I will on the old text machine. All right, we'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.